What's good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And this one, I want to give you guys a very quick update on SPY and the overall market and break down how things are looking. But let me first say that I'm not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And don't forget about the Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. Put in $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks. Anyways, we had CPI data come out and the market went absolutely bananas. It went berserk, it went crazy. SPY dumps to 510.5. Then it pumped all the way back up to this 514.8, almost 515. Then it dumped all the way back down to 510, and now it's back at 515. So back and forth, back and forth, back and forth price action. But right now we're trying to push even higher, and there is still potential for SPY to just continue to push. We're at this resistance at 515.5. Our next target above that's going to be 516. Then 516.5. So we have some tight ranges on SPY. If we get above 516.5, we could go all the way up to this imbalance at 517.5. So we're going to be watching 515.5 to see how we end up reacting. If we turn from here, watch 515 as support. And below that, if we lose that, we could come all the way back down to about 514.2. That's the previous high right over here. Not to mention 513.5, then the 512 area. So we're going to be watching this level right here. As of right now, SPY is trying to push higher. It's still on a breakout from this falling wedge, but it's very tricky price action. This thing could still turn on a T. It's been going back and forth and back and forth. As of right now, it's pushing, but I want to warn you all that at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the 10-year notes auction coming out. So I think SPY is going to get a big reaction. But this thing has been all over the place, so just be very careful. It is just as capable of rejecting as it is pushing. And as of right now, it is pushing for the time being, but watch and see where we end up topping at. Can we get to 516? Do we break it or not? Watch for that very carefully. Now, despite SPY kind of like pumping like this and approaching resistance, we have other tickers like Tesla, which are still relatively weak because of the fact that there's all this bad news affecting them. So for Tesla, this is the formation we called out. We had like a nice double top like formation. I told you it might come down all the way down to at least 175, if not 172. We came down, now we're retesting 175, and Tesla may just continue to shuffle right here, getting dragged by SPY. If we break above the 175 area, start pushing and pushing and pushing, we're going to be looking at this previous resistance becoming support. We have 176.5 to be watching for to 177.6. Then we have 180 above that. But as of right now, I think that there's a very good chance that Tesla continues to shuffle, continues to kind of trade sideways at this 175 area. So it's very wild. The QQQ is also following this trend on SPY, trying to push back up to 442. It came down a bit, so we have an inverse head and shoulders, which is showing some life. It could push higher, but I just want to warn everyone that this market is pretty crazy. We dumped pretty hard all the way back down to 436. So we pumped to 442, came down to 436, then we were back to 442 again. Pretty crazy stuff, guys. And this chart looks bullish. It could push a little bit higher, but watch and see how it reacts to resistance now. We have 442 as resistance and then 443.5. Could push higher. I do believe it could push higher past 442. But the problem is, once this node auction comes out, it could turn back down because the QQQ is doing the same thing as SPY. If you look at the 5-minute time frame, it's all over the place. Wild price action, back and forth price action, just like SPY, from almost 442 all the way down to 436 and back up to 442. All over the place. So it is bullish right now. It could push a little bit higher, but make sure you watch that resistance and watch for a big reaction at 1 p.m. when the notes auction comes out. For Nvidia, this is pretty crazy too. It kind of pumped and dumped. It pushed all the way up towards 880, dumps down to 860. Now it's back up towards 892. We could be making our way up towards 900, so it could push a little bit higher. But watch resistance at 900 because the last time we came close to this, we got this like rejection right over here. So I'm going to be watching this carefully. There's this accumulation schematic, but it's still looking like it could push a higher, but be a little bit careful with that. For Apple, this is wild. So Apple is at resistance now. So this yellow trend line was previous support, which is now becoming resistance. And you could see Apple kind of rejected off this resistance as well. So I'm going to close that. We're just going to focus on this trend line right here. Apple was uptrending, and then it got this big rejection all the way down to 170.9, almost exactly where our support was at 171. Now it's coming back up, testing the yellow trend line as resistance. If we break this, we could push towards 173.5. If we reject off this, we could be coming back down towards 172.5 in lower levels. So overall, Apple is showing some life, but it's not as strong as before. So just be careful as we're below this yellow trend line. That's going to be our resistance. So we'll see how Apple does from here. Looking at the markets, SPY is still showing strength. Tesla is trying to hold up, but not looking the strongest. We have some tickers like Rivian, which are actually coming down. So it kind of popped. Now it's dropping. So it popped right here in the morning. Now it's still back down towards like 12. Watch resistance at 12.37. Not really a whole lot's going on with this. SoFi dropped on the CPI numbers, which is ironic. And also because of bad news. Supermicro, we went all the way up to 1150, almost just a little bit short of that. So we could push a little higher, but then watch resistance up there. And then on top of that, we also have Microsoft getting a nice push. This is actually doing better than many expectations. We got a nice balance towards not just 410, but now we're at 414 as resistance. If we break this, we could push even higher. And then besides that, I just want to mention that we have Amazon. This thing ended up getting a big bounce, even better than what I was expecting. So it started off very weak. It was dropping all the way down to like the 171 area. And then it got a big bounce. Now it's trying to turn on the 4 hour. It could push a little bit higher. So now 178 is a real possibility if we continue to break 176.5. And Meta is now pushing alongside the market. We're going to be watching 500 as resistance. If that breaks, we could push higher. So a little bit more ironic. We did drop a bit, but now we're showing some life. SPY is continuing to push, guys. We'll see if we can approach 516, showing some life, and we'll see how things go. Tesla is still relatively weak thanks to some bad news. But overall, guys, the market is still all over the place. SPY is showing some strength right now, trying to push towards 516. But do not forget, at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the 10-year note auction coming out. So I'm expecting a big reaction to that. And then we'll just have to see how it goes from there. With that being said, I just want to thank you all so much for listening. The market has gone mad. It's gone bananas, berserk, whatever you want to say. And then we'll just see how it goes from here. I also want to just say I really appreciate every single one of you for kind of bearing with this insane price action. Sometimes there are days, especially after CPI, when the market just goes crazy. It's like so tricky to kind of like interpret every single itty bitty move. But from now, what I'm saying is, let me just note that the market may hold up very nicely. It's also kind of like holding up well, pushing. But I do believe there's going to be a big reaction after the note auction comes out. They're going to use that as the next catalyst to kind of move things. So it could cause either the market to switch directions or even push harder. We might end up switching directions since we're already pushing, approaching it. So I think that's very probable. So watch for that move at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's where we're going to see some very, very high volatility nonetheless. All right. So that being said, thank you all so much for listening. I hope you guys have an absolutely spectacular rest of the day. The market is quite volatile, so good trades could be made. If you're scalping, if you're just swinging, it's all up to you. So have fun, guys. Let's enjoy what the price action has to give us. Please be prepared because it's a very tricky price action. And then with that being said, I'll see you guys very soon on the next one in just a couple of hours after the note auction comes out. All right. So thank you and peace out.